you ever watched a really inspiring video online only to realize afterwards that you have no idea how to put it into action? That happens to me all the time. So, what I'm going to show you how to do today is within about 5 to 10 minutes, create a custom GPT that will actually help you apply all the concepts within that video. I'm Mark DeGrasse, founder of AI Branding Academy, and I watch these types of online videos all the time. And what most of the time I'm trying to do is take the information, apply it myself, and then hopefully share it with my business partners and customers and students that I have. And it can be really tough without having to go further in and take the course or read a book or do all these other things. Sometimes I just want to take those ideas and just apply them right now. That's my favorite type of video. So I recently watched this video about basically setting goals, and I really wanted to put it into action. But I want to do it today, and I want to do it within about 10 minutes. So what I'm going to show you how to do is use the create function through a custom GPT and actually create this using just a few prompts. That way I can put it into action. Let's go and get started. All right, so here's the video right here. I'll go ahead and link that. It's called The Last Lecture Series, How to Design a Winnable Game by Graham Weaver. And he basically describes kind of his work history and how he realized that he was playing somebody else's game. And in order to win, he had to play his own game and really care about winning. And it might sound kind of funny, but a lot of us are way too conservative with our goals. They're not actually inspiring. And then what we end up doing is getting into survival versus growth or, any kind of progress. So I love this video. Go and check that out. What I'm going to do is simply grab the transcription of the video and then use it in a series of prompts to actually create a GPT. So I'm going to go and open that, and you'll see here transcript. You can say show transcript, and you'll see it pull up here on the side. So I'm just going to copy this whole thing. There's probably better ways to do this, but I like to click the top, hold down shift, and go to the bottom. And then I'm just going to right click and say copy. All right, so now I have my information. Now, I could actually process some of it using prompts first, but let's just see what happens when I just go the super lazy way and create a custom GPT at the same time. So I'm in ChatGPT. I'm going to click on GPTs in the left column. I'm going to go up here to the top right and say create. And then you'll see this. So you can either configure, which is more the advanced method of creating a GPT. You have to know what you want to accomplish. It's a little bit more work. If you're doing a professional GPT, I definitely recommend you use configure. We're going to use create because we're super lazy. So I'm just going to talk to the GPT and then have it create itself. So I'm going to start with, please review the following transcript and create a, let's say we'll call it a program to help me employ the concepts presented as quickly as possible. All right, so we're just going to leave it like that. I'm going to paste it and let it go. And you could say, and I always tell, my students this, don't worry about formatting. Yes, it has all these numbers in there. It doesn't matter. AI, especially AIs like ChatGPT or language processors, they're large language models. Like that's what they're there for. So they know what you're trying to say, and it'll make the information, for you. So don't stress too much. Just throw the information in there and then you'll process it. Now, when you do this versus a typical chat, it does take a little bit longer. You saw it had to process that whole time, but it didn't take that long. So I just talk through it. Okay, let's pick a name for this GPT. How about Winnable Game Coach? Does that feel right to you, or would you like a different name? It always likes to jump to doing names. I want to tell it what it is first. What's the purpose of this GPT? So I'm going to say that. I'm going to say, no, let's get the methodology of this GPT down first. I want the GPT to ask me the necessary questions in order to produce a final result that will let me take action. Based on that, please suggest parameters for how this GPT can accomplish that. So kind of a formal way of saying like, hey, no, let's figure out how this works first before naming the thing. I usually set the naming and the description and all that junk for the end versus the beginning. But again, it's just trying to get the job done as soon as possible. I could literally stop right here. I could say, okay, just make it work. Done. I'm going to show you a little bit better way to do it. And again, this is the basic way. If you are going to get serious about creating GPTs, make sure you use the configure function. And what we have at my company is called GPT Craft, where we have 9 different types of GPT. We have a template for each one, and based on what you're trying to achieve, you just choose one of them. You use the template and then just fill it out, and it does the thing that you want. So if you want more advanced, check out the website. It's called GPT Craft, and you'll learn a lot about how to make GPTs with that. So, but this is kind of the process. We have to decide, we have to tell it its core purpose prior to doing anything else. Otherwise, it's going to, be useless. All right, great. I've set up the GPT to follow a structured, question-driven process that leads to a final personalized action plan. Would you like to proceed with creating a name now, or do you want to redefine the structure even further first? I want it, so it now has, you could just ask it, like, hey, what does that mean? So let's just say that. How did you decide on the structure, and how does it work? Now, this is a little bit more advanced, I would say, because you're getting into like how the thing functions. But you don't have to. If you're really lazy, just say, yeah, just make this applicable, and then go, I'm doing a little bit more work because I like to understand. Okay, so here's the structure breakdown. Identify a goal that stores your blood. Awesome. Purpose. This taps into the motivation and emotional resonance. If a goal excites you, you're more likely to commit and persist. This is from the transcription that I uploaded. All right. Design your own game. Helps users discard limiting conventions and create a path uniquely suited for them. Love it. Choose the right people. Success and fulfillment often hinge on collaboration and values alignment. Love it. Play now. Purpose. Translate inspiration into action and builds momentum. And the end result is, at the conclusion, GPT synthesizes your responses into a one-page winnable game plan, including your North Star goal, your rules and metrics for success, key people and support systems, and immediate next steps. That sounds pretty good. I even like the one-page winnable game. And you always want, I call it the final result, but they call it here the end result. This is the thing that comes out with. So we're not just making a chat bot so it could chat with you about something. I want something done. And so now it knows it's going to ask me a series of questions, and then it'll get to that. But, I don't want it to ask me 100 questions because it can do that. So you want to say, looks good, but make sure the user doesn't have to answer more than 10 questions unless they're willing to. Also, when asking questions, provide a list of answers to choose from if possible. And the reason I'm doing this is because my experience with making these GPTs, people don't like to answer 1,000 questions before they get a result. It's boring. Especially if you don't say like, hey, you're going to be answering this many questions. Now they don't know what to expect. And the more questions they answer, the more they start thinking like, oh my gosh, how many more questions do I have? It's a bad user experience. So I like to limit it to 10 or less. But it could always be more as long as the user's willing to do it. And that's the cool thing about AI is you can accommodate that. Okay, I've updated the GPT, ask no more than 10 questions, lets the user choose more, and offer multiple choice options wherever possible. Would you like to name the GPT now? Yes. Okay, now we could name the GPT. Yes, name the GPT, but please ensure that that it notes where the information came from. In this case, it's from a video titled, and then I'm just going to give it the name of this video that I actually used as the inspiration. And this is just because I want to give it credit. Plus, from a marketing standpoint, I can now tag, a TED Talk. I think this is a TED Talk. No, it's not a TED Talk. It's a Stanford talk. I could tag Stanford. I could tag the speaker. And now it's not just like, oh, hey, here's a GPT that does something. It's a GPT based on this video from a trusted advisor that did it. So Winnable Game Designer guides you to win your game through 10 key questions, a personalized action plan. Not bad. And it'll always try to make icons. That icon's fine. Icon is fine, but please mention the source in the description. And again, I want to give credit. Always try to give credit when you can. And there you go. Okay. So now now it updated it based on Graham Weaver's lecture. Great. Now, the only thing I'd say is you don't want to have 4 questions. I would want 1 question. So keep that in mind. 1 question. It just helps the process, because if you start going this path, it could confuse the AI. It might get off of the question list that's created. So I'm going to say, please only have one initial prompt option available. And we'll say, I need a winnable game, or I want a winnable game. And they'll go ahead and update it. Now, I will say, even if you use the configure function, the create function is great for making modifications. So keep that in mind, even if you don't use it initially. All right, that's it. So now I'm going to say create. I'm going to leave it anyone with link, and I'm going to save. And that's it. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. We'll see how it works. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I want a winnable game. Awesome. Let's build your winnable game. We'll go step by step. Just 10 questions mask, unless you want more. Each one gets you closer to a custom, exciting, and totally winnable life game. What stirs your blood? Pick the light, or pick one that lights you up, not what you should pick. Okay, launch a business, and then you can, of course, go through. Okay, so it's going to be 10 questions, and go ahead and try it out. I'm going to put the link on there, and then you're good to go. And you can always modify this. If you want to modify it, you just go into the top left, edit GPT, and now you can modify. Also, if you're interested in how the thing works, you could also go to configure, and you could look at the instructions that it made, and you can see how simple the instructions are. It only did 4 questions. And that's kind of the typical thing that happens when you use the create function. It really oversimplifies. So if you want to do it right, check out our GPT craft. And you'll get a much more succinct answer for how to create these GPTs. All right, so there you have it. So there's no more excuse for being inspired by a video and then not actually doing something about it. Try this out. Most videos, I think they all have the transcript. If you don't have the transcript, but you have a video file, or actually just a YouTube link, you can use Descript. Descript will actually grab the transcript and does a really good job. And it's just a paragraph form, which is pretty nice too. And then, yeah, give it a shot. But if you do want to learn, the professional way to make GPTs, we have GPT Craft, 9 different GPTs. Go and check that out on our website. I'll go ahead and link that down below. And let me know how it goes. Give it a shot. Again, there's no excuse for not learning things anymore. AI can teach you anything in the way you want it, in a really short order. So get to work. Next video you see that inspires you, try this out and let me know how it goes.